The house is quiet now. Every room has settled into its darkness. The kitchen, the hallway, the space beside the bed where someone used to stand. Outside, if you listen, there is almost nothing. A car, somewhere far away. The slow breathing of a world that has somehow fallen asleep without you. And here you are, eyes open, or maybe eyes closed, but mind wide open, which is its own kind of alone. You are carrying something tonight. You may not have a name for it. It might not have clean edges or a single cause. It is just there. The weight of it, the hum of it. The way it followed you from the evening into the night and now sits beside you in the dark, patient as anything, waiting to see what you will do. You have checked the time. You have adjusted the pillow. You have tried to breathe a certain way. And still, the mind moves. Still the thoughts circle. Still something in you cannot quite let go. That is exactly where this begins. Not with you having it together. Not with you already at peace. Not after you have sorted through the thing that will not be sorted. Here, right here, in the unsettled place. There is a voice in scripture, ancient, unhurried, almost impossible to rush. And it says something to people exactly like you, in moments exactly like this. It says, come. That is the whole invitation. Just that. Come. Not arrive already healed. Not come when you have figured it out. Not come once you have stopped being afraid or ashamed or exhausted. Come. In Matthew 11:28, Jesus says, and he says it in the middle of a world that was as loud and hard and confusing as this one. He says, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Weary, burdened, rest. Those are not accidental words. He did not say, come to me, all you who have finished your to-do list. He did not say, come when you feel worthy of coming. He named the exact condition, the weight, the tired, the thing you cannot put down. And he named it as the reason to come, not the obstacle, the reason. So tonight, the weariness is not a problem to solve before you can rest. The weariness is the door, and you are already standing in it. Let your body remember that it is lying down, the weight of your shoulders, the back of your head against the pillow, the slow, unconscious rhythm your chest is already keeping without your help. Your body already knows how to do this. It has been breathing since before you could choose. It has been held by gravity, held by the surface beneath you, held whether you feel it or not, by something far older and steadier than your own effort. You do not have to manufacture peace tonight. You do not have to feel it before it is real. Peace in scripture is not an emotion you produce. It is a person who arrives. It is a presence that moves into a room, even a dark room, even a 2 a.m. room, even a room full of the thing you cannot control. And it is simply there, closer than you think, quieter than you expect, already here, before you called. In the hours ahead, we are going to stay in that presence together. We are going to let scripture breathe over the thing you are carrying, slowly, gently, without hurry, until something in you begins to release. Not because you forced it, but because you were reminded of who is holding you while you sleep. If you are awake right now, something is still running in the background of your mind. A worry you can't resolve, a decision you can't make, a person you can't reach, and the night has a way of making all of it feel louder than it really is. So before we go any further, I just want you to hear this one thing. You don't have to fix it tonight. In Matthew 11:28, Jesus says something so quiet and so direct, it almost catches you off guard. He says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Not figure it out, then come. Not calm down first, then come. Just come as you are. At 2 in the morning, with the thing you're carrying still in your hands. He's not waiting for you to arrive already healed. He's the one doing the healing. And here's what I want you to sit with tonight. Rest isn't the reward for letting go. Rest is what happens when you finally let someone else hold it. So right now, just breathe. You don't have to solve anything. You only have to stay here in this moment and let the weight shift just a little off your shoulders and onto the one who said he wanted to carry it. In Psalm 55:22, the invitation is even more tender. Cast your cares on the Lord, and He will sustain you. Cast them, like you're setting something heavy down on a table and stepping back. You don't have to throw them far. You don't have to do it perfectly. You just let go. Keep breathing slowly. And as you breathe out, imagine the tightest part of what you're holding loosening, just a little. Not because the situation has changed, but because you're not facing it alone anymore. There's a reason sleep is called a gift in Scripture. Psalm 127:2 says, God grants sleep to those He loves. Not those who have earned it, not those who have everything figured out, those He loves. And friend, that is you right now, tonight. So stay with me, because in just a moment we're going to go even slower and let that truth settle all the way down into the places where the worry lives. It is late, maybe later than you planned to still be awake. The room is quiet, but your mind is not. And somewhere between the silence of the house and the noise inside your chest, you found this. You found your way here, to this voice, to this space. And I want you to know that was not an accident. There is something you are carrying tonight. Something you cannot put down, something you cannot fix, something that has followed you all the way from the day into the dark. Maybe it is a relationship that is fraying at the edges and you do not know how to hold it together. Maybe it is a decision you have to make and every option feels like a kind of loss. Maybe it is a fear you cannot even name, just a weight, just the pressure, just this low hum of dread sitting somewhere behind your sternum. And no matter how many times you told yourself today to stop worrying, you could not. Can I ask you something? When did rest start to feel like something you had to earn? Because somewhere along the way, so many of us absorbed this quiet, unspoken belief that sleep is a reward for people who have resolved everything. That peace is for people who have answered all the questions, who have made all the right calls, who have secured every outcome that matters to them. And if something is still open, still uncertain, still unresolved, well, then you stay awake, you keep watch. You hold the vigil over your own anxiety as if your staying conscious is what is keeping the thing from falling apart. And here is the quiet irony in that. The very act of lying awake changes nothing about the situation. The relationship does not mend in the dark. The decision does not become clearer at 2 in the morning than it was at noon. The outcome you are afraid of is not being held at bay by your wakefulness. You are exhausting yourself, guarding a door that was never yours to guard. There is a man in the oldest stories of our faith, a shepherd boy who became a king, a poet who wrote his prayers out loud, and his name was David. And David knew something about nights like this one. He knew what it felt like to lie down with enemies on every side, with a future that was not guaranteed, with circumstances far outside his control. And in the middle of all of that, not after it resolved, not once things got better, but in the middle of it, he wrote words that have been whispered in the dark for 3,000 years. In peace I will lie down and sleep. For you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety. Psalm 4:8. Sit with those words for a moment. In peace, not in resolution. Not once this is settled, I will rest. Not when I know how this ends, I will finally sleep. In peace, I will lie down. Right now, as I am, with all of this still unfinished. And the reason he can say that, the reason that is not just poetry, the reason that is not denial or pretending, is in the second half of the verse. For you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety. The safety is not David's to manufacture. He is not safe because he has outmaneuvered his enemies. He is not safe because the circumstances are favorable. He is safe because there is someone who is awake when he is not. Someone who does not sleep, does not slumber, does not tire. Someone who's watching over him is not diminished by his resting. Think about what that means for tonight. The thing you are afraid of, the person, the situation, the outcome. It is not floating in some unguarded darkness right now, unsupervised, waiting for your attention to slip so it can fall. It is held. It is held by the same hands that hold the deep places of the earth, the same voice that told the waves of the Sea of Galilee to be still, and they were. The same presence that Matthew 11:28 speaks of when Jesus says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Not come to me when you've sorted it out. Not come to me when you feel you've earned a good night. Come to me weary. Come to me burdened. Come exactly as you are. At 2 in the morning, with the weight still on your chest, and the question still unanswered. And I will give you rest. That word, give. He does not say, I will help you find it, or I will show you where it is, or I will teach you a technique for achieving it. He says, I will give it to you as a gift, unearned, unmerited, given freely to the person who is too tired to do anything but receive it. So tonight, this is where we begin, not by solving anything, not by arriving at answers, but by slowly, gently, one breath at a time, releasing the grip, opening the hand that has been clenched all day around something that belongs to God. And if you find that this kind of space, this slow, scripture-soaked, unhurried rest, is something your soul needs more than once, there is more here waiting for you. 40 nights, 40 chances to lay the weight down. You do not have to carry it into tomorrow the way you carried it into tonight. It is late, later than you meant to still be awake, and something brought you here. Not an alarm, not a schedule, something quieter than that, and heavier. Maybe you have been lying in the dark for a while already, watching the ceiling, your mind moving in circles that do not seem to lead anywhere restful. Maybe there is a conversation replaying, something said, something left unsaid. Maybe there is a situation you have turned over so many times tonight that the edges of it are worn smooth, and still, you cannot put it down. And the particular cruelty of 2 in the morning is this: the world has gone quiet enough that you cannot escape what is loud inside you. The noise that kept you distracted all day has stopped, and now it is just you and whatever this is. So before we go anywhere else tonight, I want to stay here for a moment, right here, in the honest dark, with whatever you are carrying. You do not have to pretend you are fine. You do not have to arrange your feelings into something presentable. You came here as you are, and that is enough. There is a question underneath a night like this, underneath all the thoughts and the worry and the quiet panic that hums just below the surface. The question is not really about the situation keeping you awake. It is older than that, and deeper. The question is, does anyone actually know what I am carrying right now? Does anyone see not the version of me I show the world today, but this version? The one who cannot sleep, the one whose chest feels tight, the one who is holding something I do not know how to hold much longer. That question, I want to leave it open for just a moment because it deserves to breathe. There is something quietly devastating about feeling unseen in the middle of the night, not unloved necessarily. Maybe there are people in your life who love you very much, but love and being truly known are not always the same thing, are they? The people who love you are asleep right now, and even if they were awake, there are parts of what you are feeling tonight that are almost too tender to put into words, too tangled, too raw, too much to hand to another person without worrying you will overwhelm them. So you carry it quietly. You carry it alone in the dark, and the weight of that aloneness is sometimes the heaviest part of all. Here is where I want to read you something. In the book of Psalms, the 34th Psalm, verse 18, there are 10 words that I think were written for exactly this kind of night. 10 words that sound almost too simple until you let them settle into you slowly. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Close, not distant, not requiring you to get yourself together first, not waiting for morning when things feel more manageable. Close. The Hebrew word here carries the sense of nearness, of something pressing in, of a presence that does not stand at arm's length, but moves toward the broken place, toward the crushed spirit, toward the person who cannot sleep at 2 in the morning because they are holding something too heavy for one person. And I want you to notice something quietly ironic about this verse. We tend to believe, most of us, somewhere underneath our theology, that God is more present when we are strong, more accessible when we are composed, when we have prayed well, when we are not a mess. We bring our best self to God and hope it is enough to get through. But the psalm says something that runs in the opposite direction entirely. It is not the composed heart that draws him near. It is the broken one. It is the crushed spirit, the spirit that has run out of ways to manage, out of strength to pretend. That is precisely where he moves closest. Which means tonight, in the honest dark, in the exhaustion and the worry and the turning over of things you cannot fix, you are not further from God than you were this morning. You may actually be closer. not because your pain is holy in some abstract sense, but because your need is real, and he moves toward real need the way a good father moves toward a child in the night, not slowly, not reluctantly, but immediately and with the full weight of his attention. So let that be the first thing that settles into you tonight, before anything else. Before we slow your breathing, before we find stillness, before we go any further at all. You are not alone in this room. You are not alone when you lay down. You are not alone when the thought started. And you are not alone now. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted, close to you tonight, exactly as you are. And now I want to ask you something, gently, quietly, because I think it might be the most important question of the next few minutes. If he is already here, already close, already leaning in toward this broken, tired, sleepless version of you, what might it feel like to actually let him?
You are still awake, and something brought you here. Not an alarm, not a schedule, something heavier than that. Maybe it is a situation you have been turning over in your mind for hours or days. Maybe it is a person, someone you love who is making choices you cannot reach in and change. Maybe it is a number, a diagnosis, a silence where a phone call should have been. Whatever it is, you carried it to bed with you tonight, and it is still here, lying beside you in the dark, heavier than it was this morning. Here is something honest, something most people will not say to you at 2 in the morning. The thing you are afraid of might happen. The hard conversation might go wrong. The diagnosis might be serious. The person you are praying for might not turn around, not yet, maybe not for a long time. And if that is true, if the worst is actually possible, then what is the point of letting go tonight? What does surrender even mean when the danger is real? There is an old word for what you are doing right now, lying awake, running through every outcome, every scenario, every what if. The old teachers of the faith called it vigil, keeping watch. And here is the quiet irony. You are keeping watch over something you cannot actually see from here. You cannot see tomorrow. You cannot see the other person's heart. You cannot see the outcome of the decision, the result of the test, the end of the road you are afraid of. You are a watchman standing on a wall, watching fog. Every detail your mind reaches for disappears into gray. And still you stand there straining your eyes, refusing to rest, because somehow it feels like your vigilance is holding something together. Like if you stop watching, something will fall. In the book of Psalms, the 121st, there is a traveler. He is looking up at the mountains, not with wonder, but with fear. The mountains in that world were not scenic. They were where bandits waited, where the road became dangerous and the path became uncertain. And the traveler asks a question, quietly, honestly, the way you ask a question when you already half know you cannot answer it yourself. Where does my help come from? Not where is my help. Where does it come from? The source, the origin. Who is actually holding this together while I walk through the dangerous place? And then, gently, without drama, the psalm answers its own question. My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. He who keeps you will not slumber. Read that again slowly in your mind. He will not slumber.
the vigil you are keeping tonight. He has already been keeping it since before you lay down, since before the thing you are afraid of even existed. He has not looked away once. So the question that hangs in the dark, what is the point of letting go when the danger is real, begins to find its answer not in safety, not in certainty, but in presence. The point is not that nothing bad can happen. The point is that nothing, not one moment of what is coming, will happen outside of the gaze of the one who made the mountains and knows the road through them. You are not the watchman here. You never were. And as that truth begins to settle into your body like warmth, there is something else he wants to show you. Something about what it means to actually rest in the hands of a keeper who never sleeps.
Maybe you've been lying here for a while now, turning something over in your mind that won't stay still, a decision you can't make, a person you can't reach, a future you can't see clearly no matter how hard you try. And the harder you try to resolve it, the more awake you become, the more your chest tightens, the more the silence in this room feels less like rest and more like pressure. There is a specific kind of tired that comes from carrying something you were never meant to carry alone. Not physical tired, though your body feels it too, but the tired that lives somewhere behind your eyes, in the place where you keep rehearsing conversations that haven't happened yet, or reliving ones that have. You know that place. You're probably there right now. Here's what I want to ask you. And I want you to sit with this, not rush past it. What if the very breath in your lungs right now is already an answer? Not an answer to the problem you're holding, but an answer to a deeper question, the question of whether you are held. In Genesis 2, God does something remarkable. He doesn't simply speak humanity into being the way he spoke light into being, or sea or sky. He bends low, he forms, he shapes, and then he breathes. The text says he breathed into the man's nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living soul. This means something. Every breath you have taken since the moment you arrived in this world has been in some sense a gift directly from the mouth of God. Not a metaphor, not poetry, a continuous, intimate, sustaining act. And here is the gentle irony in all of this. You have been breathing all night long, even while you were anxious, even while you were afraid, even while your mind was loud and your heart was heavy. Your lungs kept receiving, your body kept thrusting even when your thoughts could not. There is something quietly faithful happening inside you right now that you did not have to manufacture or maintain.
In Romans 8, Paul writes that the Spirit Himself intercedes for us with groanings too deep for words. Too deep for words. That means there are prayers happening within you that you don't even have language for yet. The Spirit praying inside the very breath God first gave you. You are not too tired to pray tonight. You are already being prayed through. So let's do something together now. Let your body soften against whatever surface is beneath you. Your mattress, your pillow, let them hold your weight. You don't have to hold yourself up right now. Place one hand gently on your chest if you'd like. Feel it rise and fall. That movement is grace. That is God's first gift. It's still being given now. Breathe in slowly. Counting in your heart. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe out even more slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, breathe in. And breathe out. Longer than the breath in. This is not a technique, this is a posture. Exhaling longer than you inhale is the body's way of saying, I am safe enough to release. And tonight, in this moment, you are safe. As you breathe in, let the word Abba rise in you. Father, the word Jesus used in the garden in his hardest night. Not a formal word, a child's word. The first word, Abba. And as you breathe out, let these words follow slowly like a sigh, more than a sentence. I trust. Not I understand, not I am okay. Just I trust. That is enough. That is more than enough. Abba. I trust. Abba. I trust. Keep breathing this way at your own pace for as long as you need. Let your mind follow your breath rather than the other way around. Let the exhale carry what you cannot carry. Let the inhale remind you you are being filled, even now. This is the answer to the question I left open, whether you are held. You are held in the very act of breathing. You are held before you knew you needed to be. And the same God who bent low to breathe life into dust is bending low over this room tonight, over you in particular, and He is not in a hurry, and He is not worried, and He has not looked away. If something in this practice reached you tonight, the breathing, or the words Abba, I trust, you might know someone else lying awake right now who needs to hear it too. Sometimes the most pastoral thing we can do is simply pass a candle. If you're awake right now, something brought you here. Maybe it's a situation you've been turning over and over in your mind, and no matter how many times you examine it, You can't find the answer in the dark. That's okay. You weren't meant to. There is a rest that isn't about solutions. It's about surrender. The quiet, brave act of saying, I cannot carry this alone, and I don't have to. Jesus said it in Matthew 11:28, and he said it like an invitation, not a command. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Not tomorrow, not when you figured it out. Now, in this room, in this dark, in this moment where you feel the weight most clearly. So let's begin there, not with striving, not with answers, but with your breath and with His presence. Breathe in slowly, and as you exhale, let your shoulders fall. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are exactly where grace can find you, awake and willing and here. In the next few minutes, we're going to settle something deep, not the thing that woke you up, but something older and quieter and more important than that. There is something you are holding right now, not in your hands. Your hands are probably resting somewhere soft, somewhere still, but deeper than that. In the place behind your ribs, in the quiet architecture of your chest, something is gripped. You have been carrying it for hours, maybe longer. A situation that will not resolve itself tonight. A relationship that hangs in the air unanswered. A decision that feels too large and too close at the same time. A fear that keeps returning. Not loudly, not dramatically, just persistently. Like a door in an old house that will not stay shut no matter how many times you close it. And here is the strange thing. Here is the quiet irony of 2 a.m. The tighter you hold it, the more awake it makes you. The more you turn it over, the heavier it becomes. Control, the very thing you are reaching for, is the thing that is keeping you from rest. So what if the path forward is not gripping harder, but opening? In the book of 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 7, the apostle writes something that sounds almost too simple. He says, cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you. Cast, not manage, not organize, not think through one more time in the dark. Cast like a fisherman, throwing a net wide over open water. There is force in that word. There is intention. It is not the passive act of letting something drift away. It is the deliberate act of releasing something from your hands and trusting it to move towards something larger than you. And the reason Peter gives is not a command about discipline or spiritual maturity. The reason is tenderness, because He cares for you. Not because you have earned it tonight, not because you have prayed enough or believed perfectly, simply because care is who He is. And you are the one He is caring for. And then there is this. In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 11, Jesus says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Weary, he chose that word deliberately. Not the spiritually pure, not the ones who have it together. The weary, the ones awake at 2 in the morning with something they cannot put down. You are not disqualified from rest because of what you are carrying. You are invited into rest because of it. So here is what I want to invite you to do. Very gently, wherever your hands are resting right now, I want you to slowly turn your palms upward. Open hands, not clenched, not folded, just open. Palms facing the ceiling or the dark or whatever is above you in this moment. Let that gesture be a language your body speaks when words feel too heavy. Open hands say, "I'm not holding this anymore." Open hands say, "I was never meant to carry this alone." Open hands say, "I trust something larger than my own grip tonight." And now, with your palms still open, breathe once, slowly. And let these words be a prayer, even if your voice never leaves your chest. Father, I release what I cannot fix. I trust what I cannot see. Hold what my hands were never meant to hold. I am yours, and that is enough. Let your hands rest now. Whatever you placed into that open space, it has been received. Not because of the perfectness of the prayer, not because every worry is solved, but because the one who said, "Come to me," is the same one who said, "I will give you rest." And he meant it then, and he means it now. In the dark, in this room, in this moment. Your hands are open. That is enough for tonight. But there is one more thing, one quiet truth about what happens in that open space that we have not yet touched. You are still awake. And somewhere between the last hour and this one, you stop pretending you were about to fall asleep. The room is quiet, but your mind is not. There is something you carried with you tonight, something you could not set down at the door, could not leave on the kitchen counter, could not tuck away beside the lamp when you turned off the light. It came with you into the dark. Maybe it is a situation you cannot fix. Maybe it is a person you love who is making choices that are breaking your heart slowly, the way water breaks stone. Not all at once, but steadily, invisibly, over time. Maybe it is a number, a bill, a diagnosis, a figure on a screen that keeps returning to the front of your thoughts every time you try to let it go. Maybe you do not even have a name for it yet. You only know the feeling. The tightness in the chest, the jaw that will not unclench, the low hum of something unresolved that sits just beneath everything else. And here is the question I want to leave in the air with you for a moment, not to trouble you further, but to let it breathe. What if the fact that you cannot control this is not a failure? We have been taught, most of us, in ways so subtle we never notice the teaching, that being a responsible person means being a person who handles things, who solves, who manages, who keeps the wheels turning and the people safe and the future ordered. And so when something arrives that resists all of that, when the wheel will not turn no matter how hard you push, when the person will not be safe no matter how carefully you watch, when the future refuses to be ordered, something in you reads it as evidence that you have somehow failed. That is the quiet cruelty of it. The very thing that is beyond your control becomes, in the dark, something you hold yourself responsible for. You lie here rehearsing conversations that have not happened. You revise decisions that are already made. You build contingency plans for contingency plans, stacking them like sandbags against a flood that may or may not come. And all of it, every bit of that exhausting mental labor, is you trying to do the one thing you were never designed to do. You were never meant to hold the world together. There is an old psalm, Psalm 121, that begins with a man lifting his eyes to the hills. Ancient travelers looked to the hills because that was where the danger lived, the bandits, the ambushes, the unknown. And the psalmist asks quietly, honestly, where does my help come from? Not a declaration yet, a question, a real question, asked by a real person who was genuinely uncertain, genuinely afraid, genuinely looking at a dark hillside and not knowing what was moving in it. And then the answer comes, not with fanfare, not with a trumpet, but with the gentlest, most grounding truth in all of Scripture. My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. The one who made the hills is not hiding behind them. The one who made the darkness is not absent from it. The one who made you has not looked away. You are not awake because you have failed to control enough. You are awake because you are human and you are carrying something real. And the night has a way of making real things feel enormous. But here, in this stillness, in this dark, in the quiet that is wrapping around you even now, there is a presence that has been watching over you since before you knew you needed watching over. And that presence is not anxious. Rest in that for just a moment, because in a moment we are going to look at what it actually means to release a thing you are holding, not to abandon it, not to pretend it does not matter, but to place it into hands that are far more capable than yours or mine.
You are still awake, and part of you already knows why. It is not the noise outside. It is not the light from the screen. It is something heavier than that. Something you carried all day, set down for a few hours, and then picked back up the moment the house went quiet. Something with a name you might not even want to say out loud right now. Maybe it is a relationship that is fracturing, and you cannot tell yet whether it is going to break completely or heal. Maybe it is a decision that is sitting on your chest like a stone, and every hour you delay it, the stone grows heavier. Maybe it is something you said, or something someone said to you, and the words keep replaying. The way a song you did not choose keeps starting over. Or maybe, and this is the one that is hardest to admit, maybe it is not one specific thing. Maybe it is just this slow, low hum of dread, the sense that something is coming you cannot see yet, that the ground beneath you is not quite as solid as it looked yesterday. Whatever it is, it brought you here, to this moment, to this voice in the dark. And here is the question I want to leave in the air for just a moment. What if the fact that you cannot sleep is not a problem to be solved, but an invitation to be accepted? That sounds almost too gentle to be true, I know. When you are lying there at 2 a.m, staring at the ceiling, running the same loop of worry through your mind for the 4th time. It does not feel like an invitation. It feels like a malfunction. It feels like your body and your mind have betrayed you at the moment you needed them most. But consider this just for a moment. There is a psalm, Psalm 127, that says something quiet and almost startling. It says that God gives sleep to those He loves, not as a reward for having everything figured out, not as a prize for the people whose lives are orderly and resolved, but as a gift, unearned, unscheduled, given in the middle of the ordinary chaos of being human. And yet here you are, wide awake. So either the psalm is wrong, or something else is happening in this wakefulness than mere sleeplessness. Here is what I believe, and I want you to feel the weight of this, not just hear it. Sometimes God does not still the storm before you can rest. Sometimes He sits with you in the storm, and the sitting itself is the mercy. Think of the disciples on the boat in the dark. The wind was real. The waves were real. The fear that woke them in the night, that was real too. And Jesus was not standing on the shore sending comfort from a distance. He was there, in the boat, in the same dark, in the same storm, asleep actually, which is its own kind of miracle, but present, completely, undeniably present. You are not alone in this boat tonight. The thing you are carrying, the fear, the grief, the unanswered question, the relationship you cannot fix, the future you cannot see, none of it has moved you beyond the reach of the one who made you, not 1 inch, not 1 sleepless hour. And here, right here, is the small and tender truth this moment holds. You do not have to resolve anything tonight. You do not have to have the answer by morning. You do not have to be stronger than you feel right now. You only have to be here, breathing, present, and willing to let something other than your own worry hold you for a little while. That willingness, that small exhausted belly there willingness, is enough to begin. And in just a moment, we are going to do something together. Something slow and simple and ancient.
that has been helping people just like you find rest in the dark for thousands of years.
You are still awake, and somewhere underneath the quiet of this room, underneath the darkness pressing gently against your eyes, there is something you are holding, something that will not let go of you tonight. Maybe it is a person, someone you love, who is moving in a direction you cannot stop. Maybe it is a number, a bill, a diagnosis, a deadline, something written down somewhere that feels like a verdict. Maybe you cannot even name it exactly. You only know that it followed you here, into the dark, into the sheets, into the space behind your closed eyes, where you hoped, you really hoped, it would not find you. But it did. And here is what I want to ask you very gently in the quiet of this moment. What if the fact that you cannot fix this thing is not a failure? What if the sleeplessness itself is not the enemy? There is something quietly ironic about the way we carry fear. We hold it tightly because we believe that holding it means we are doing something, that the grip is a kind of work, that if we think about it hard enough, long enough, carefully enough, we will find the edge of it, the solution, the door that opens. But at 2 in the morning, the mind does not solve. It only circles. It walks the same hallway again and again, trying every door, finding every one of them locked. And the walking itself begins to feel like the only thing keeping the walls from closing in. So you keep walking, you keep holding, and the weight gets heavier with every step. I want you to picture something for a moment. Imagine a shepherd, not a distant one, not one managing a flock from across a field, but one close enough that you can hear his breathing, close enough that you can smell the wool and the earth and the night air on his coat. He has been walking these hills a long time. He knows where the ground goes soft near the stream. He knows which paths lead to open pasture and which ones narrow into nothing. And he is not afraid of the dark, not because the dark is not real, but because he has walked through it before.
and he knows what waits on the other side of it. The 23rd Psalm says it this way. It says, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil." Not around the valley, not above it, through it. The shepherd does not reroute you around the hard thing. He walks you through it. And the reason you do not have to be afraid is not because the valley is safe. It is because you are not alone in it. Now bring that image here, into this room, into this bed. Whatever it is you carried here tonight, that fear, that uncertainty, that grief, that anger you are not sure what to do with. He is not waiting for you to figure it out before he comes close. He is already close. In Matthew 11:28, Jesus does not say, "Come to me once you have tried everything else." He does not say, "Come to me when you have earned some rest." He says, Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Not rest as a reward, rest as a gift. There is a difference, and tonight that difference matters enormously. You did not earn your way into this moment of stillness. You did not have to resolve the fear first. You did not have to pray perfectly or feel enough faith or stop being afraid before permission was granted to lie down. The invitation was already open. It has been open this whole time. And so the thing you are holding right now, that weight in your chest, that thought looping behind your eyes, you do not have to solve it tonight. You do not have to understand it tonight. You do not even have to feel peace about it tonight, for something to be shifting in the unseen places. Sometimes surrender does not feel like release. Sometimes it feels like simply stopping, unclenching one finger at a time, letting the breath out slowly and admitting quietly, honestly, "I cannot carry this." And that admission, that small, tired, honest admission, that is not weakness. That is the beginning of trust. So before we close this night together, before we speak the words out loud that your heart has been searching for, I want you to take one slow breath. Let the room hold you. Let the dark be gentle. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not required to have the answer by morning. And in a moment, we are going to pray together, not a polished prayer, not a perfect one, but an honest one, the kind you pray when you are tired and the words do not come easily, and all you really have is the weight in your hands and the name on your lips. So let's pray together now. Not a perfect prayer, not a polished one, just an honest one. Yours and mine, offered quietly into the dark. If you're lying down, let your hands rest open at your sides or open on your chest, palms up. That posture is already a prayer. It says, I'm not holding on, I'm not in control. And somehow, that's okay. Let's begin. Abba, we come to you at an unusual hour, not the hour we planned, not the hour we wanted, but you are here in this hour, as much as you are anywhere. You see us lying here. You know what we're carrying. You know the thing we keep turning over in our minds, the worry that won't settle, the grief that has no easy name, the fear that feels too big to say out loud. You know it. And you are not afraid of it. So we breathe, and we say, Abba, I trust. We don't say that because it's easy. We say it because trust is something we choose, even when we can't feel it yet. And tonight, we are choosing, slowly, quietly, with open hands. Lord, there are things in our lives we cannot fix tonight. Relationships that are broken and we don't know how to mend them. Decisions that feel impossible, with no clear answer. Bodies that are tired or hurting. Hearts that have been waiting a long time for something to change. And we have lain here tonight trying to carry it all, as if somehow thinking harder would solve it, as if staying awake were the same as staying faithful. But it isn't. So right now, with our hands open, we release it. Not because we don't care, not because it doesn't matter, but because you care more, and you are able in ways we are not. Abba, I trust. We give you the people we love, the ones we're worried about. We can't protect them from everything. We were never meant to. So we place them into your hands, the same hands that formed them, the same hands that know them by name. Hold them tonight. We give you the outcomes we've been trying to control, the ones that feel like they're slipping, the ones that haven't gone the way we hoped. You are not surprised by any of this, and your purposes are not derailed by our circumstances. We give you our fear, the specific fear that came back tonight, the one dressed up in what ifs and worst cases. We are not strong enough to carry it through to morning, but you are. Abba, I trust. And now, Lord, something quieter. Lead us beside the still waters. Restore our souls, not tomorrow, not when everything is resolved, but here. Tonight, in this bed, in this body, in this moment, even in the valley we have been walking through, you are with us. Your rod and your staff, they are steady. We are not abandoned in the dark. We are accompanied. The Good Shepherd does not sleep, and tonight we can. So we receive that gift now. Rest, real rest. The kind that only comes from trusting someone bigger than ourselves. Let your goodness and mercy follow us all the way into sleep. And let us wake tomorrow held. Not fixed, maybe, but held. Abba, I trust. One more breath now, slow and easy. Breathe in, Abba. Breathe out, I trust. You are safe. You are seen. You are not alone in this night. And whatever tomorrow holds, it is already in the hands of the one who holds you. Rest now. Just rest. Amen. It's late, and something in you is still running, still turning it over, still trying to find the answer that will let you finally rest. You know that feeling. The same thought, the same fear, the same question, circling. And the harder you try to stop it, the louder it gets. Can I tell you something gently? You were never meant to carry this alone at 2 in the morning. Not because your problem isn't real. It is. Not because it doesn't matter. It does. But because there is one who is already awake, who has already seen every angle of what you're holding, and who is not anxious about it. In Matthew 11:28, Jesus doesn't say, "Figure it out and then come to me." He says, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Not rest after resolution. Rest right now in the middle of the unresolved. So tonight we're not going to try to solve anything. We're going to practice something older and quieter and far more powerful than solving. We're going to practice letting go, not forever, not permanently, just for tonight, just for the next few minutes, releasing the weight of what you cannot control into hands that are strong enough to hold it while you sleep. 1 Peter 5:7 says, "Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you." Not some of it, not the manageable parts, all of it. The thing you haven't told anyone, the thing you're afraid to say out loud even to yourself. That too. Let your body begin to soften now. If you're lying down, feel the weight of the bed beneath you. It is holding you. You don't have to hold yourself. Take one slow breath in And as you breathe out, imagine just for a moment that you are handing something heavy to someone who never gets tired. You don't have to figure out how he'll handle it. You don't have to understand the outcome. You just have to open your hands. Psalm 55:22 says, "Cast your burden on the Lord, and he will sustain you." Sustain, not just tomorrow, tonight, in this room, in this moment. He is not waiting for you to be stronger. He is not waiting for you to have more faith. He is here, right now, in the quiet, in the dark, closer than your next breath. And what he offers you tonight isn't an explanation. It's a rest that surpasses understanding. Philippians 4:7. A peace that guards your heart and your mind. Not a peace you manufacture. A peace that comes like a watchman standing between you and the noise so you can sleep. You don't have to figure it out tonight. Tonight it is enough to be held.
You are held tonight by hands that have never once let go.
The God who named every star knows your name right now. You do not have to figure this out in the dark. He is already in the morning waiting for you. His peace is real, and it is resting over you like a blanket you did not have to earn. Every breath you take right now is a gift He is still giving. You are not alone in this room. The Good Shepherd is close.
What you are carrying, he has already carried further than you know.
His mercies are new tomorrow morning. They are already being prepared. You are loved with a love that does not sleep, does not tire, does not turn away. Rest now. He who watches over you neither slumbers nor sleeps. Your name is written on his hands, and nothing can erase it tonight.